I spent the first 3 years of my retirement angry. Not at anyone in particular. Just angry. At the world. At myself. At the way things turned out. At the fact that this was supposed to be the reward. The golden years, and, instead, I felt more trapped than I'd ever felt in 42 years of working. I had done everything right. You understand. Solid retirement planning throughout my 50s. Built up a comfortable nest egg through disciplined financial management. Good health insurance. My wife and I had our mortgage paid off. We traveled, played golf, visited the grandkids. From the outside, I had everything I'd worked for. From the inside, I was drowning. And then, at 68 years old, something shifted. It shifted because of something my 7-year-old grandson said to me one Tuesday afternoon. What he said was so simple, so obvious, that I almost missed it. But once I heard it, truly heard, everything changed. My relationships got easier. My anxiety about money evaporated, even though my financial situation hadn't changed at all. The tension I'd been carrying in my shoulders for decades just released. Days stopped feeling like obligations and started feeling like opportunities. And the most surprising part, I realized I'd been living my entire life under a belief system that was destroying me from the inside out. Let me tell you what happened, because if you're over 60, over 50, even over 40, and you're re-feeling that low-grade dissatisfaction that nobody talks about, this might be the most important thing you hear this year. It was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were my day with Jackson, my grandson. I'd pick him up from school, take him to the park, keep him until dinner. I loved Jackson, still do. But on this particular Tuesday, I was in one of my moods. You know, the kind where everything irritates you. The traffic, the noise. We were at the park, and Jackson was on the swings. He kept asking me to push him higher, 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 and I was doing it. But in my head, I was running through my mental complaint list. The HOA fees had gone up again. My back hurt. My friend Tom had canceled our golf game. The world felt heavy. Then Jackson, mid-swing, shouted back at me, "Grandpa, why don't you smile anymore?" I stopped pushing. He twisted around on the swing to look at me. "You used to smile all the time," he said. "Matter of fact, now you look mad." And something in me cracked open. Because he was right. I didn't smile anymore. When had I stopped? And more importantly, why? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Jackson's question, about the person I'd become, about the fact that I was living in the exact circumstances I'd spent decades working toward, and I was miserable. What was wrong with me? That question led me down a path I didn't expect. At the end of that path was a realization so simple, yet so completely life-changing, that I'm still stunned I lived 68 years without understanding it. Here's what I discovered. I had spent my entire life believing that happiness was something you earned through achievement and control. I believed that if I worked hard enough, saved enough money, planned carefully enough, made all the right decisions, then I would be happy. Then I would finally relax. The formula was simple. Control plus achievement equals happiness. So I controlled everything I could. My career, my financial planning, my diet, my schedule, my image. And when retirement came, I found new things to control. Investment portfolios, home maintenance, whether the grandkids were being raised correctly. But here's the problem. You can never control enough. There's always one more thing, one more threat, one more problem, and underneath all that control, terror. Terror that if I stopped managing everything, it would all fall apart. Terror that rest meant laziness, that acceptance meant failure. So I lived in a constant state of low-grade anxiety, always preparing for the next problem. Exhausting doesn't even begin to describe it. And I want to know from you, because I think I am not alone in this. Do you relate to this? Do you feel like you're constantly trying to control and manage and optimize your way to peace? Drop a comment below. Tell me if this resonates. Because when we name these patterns out loud, they start to lose their grip on us. So what changed? After Jackson's question, I started paying attention. I noticed a pattern. I felt tense when I was trying to control outcomes. I felt at ease when I was fully present and accepted what was actually happening instead of fighting it. The mindset shift was this. Happiness doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from engaging with life as it actually is. Not as I wish it were. Not as I think it should be. But as it actually is, right now. Let me give you real examples. Money. I used to check my investment accounts daily. Every market dip sent a spike of anxiety through my chest. After the shift, I still have a solid financial plan, but I check the accounts monthly. I trust the strategy. I accept that markets fluctuate, and the anxiety disappeared. Health. I used to be obsessed. Every ache was a potential catastrophe. Now, I still maintain healthy habits, but I've accepted that my body is 68 years old. It's going to hurt sometimes. That's not a crisis. That's reality. And paradoxically, my overall well-being improved. Less stress, more energy, relationships. This one was huge. I used to try to control how my adult children lived their lives. After this shift, I love them. I'm available. I offer help when asked. But I've released my attachment to how they live. They get to make their own choices. And our relationships got so much better. Here's what I came to understand. The belief that happiness comes from control is actually a fear of death disguised as responsibility. We control because we're terrified. Terrified of loss, of decline, of death. But security is an illusion. The only real security is acceptance. Acceptance that life is uncertain. That we're all temporary. And when you accept that, you stop living defensively. You start actually living. If this is landing for you, if you re-feeling that spark of recognition, do me a favor and hit that like button. It tells me this message matters and helps other people find it. Okay, so how do you actually make this shift? First, notice when you're arguing with reality. Anytime you think this shouldn't be happening, you're creating suffering. Just notice it. Second, ask yourself, can I control this? If yes, take action. If no, practice acceptance. The weather, can't control it. Your adult child's life choices, can't control them. Your own health habits, can control. So maintain them, and then release anxiety about outcomes. Third, practice presence over preparation. When I'm with Jackson, I'm fully with Jackson, not thinking about my to-do list. This simple practice being here now has brought me more joy than any achievement ever did. Fourth, replace control with trust. Trust your financial plan. Trust your healthy habits. Trust your relationships. Trust that you're resourceful enough to handle problems when they arise. Let me tell you what changed. My marriage got better. My friendships deepened. My grandkids noticed. Jackson told me a few months ago, "Grandpa, you're fun now." That might be the best compliment I've ever received. My financial anxiety disappeared. My days feel lighter. I wake up curious, not with a checklist of things to control. Here's what I wish I'd understood at 50, at 60. Every year you spend trying to control your way to happiness is a year of unnecessary suffering. I wasted 3 years of my retirement being angry. 3 years I'll never get back. But you still have yours. If you're 50 and you make this shift now, think about how many years of peace you're giving yourself. If you're 60, 70, 80, it's not too late. Your financial security, your health, your retirement plan, they all matter. But none of it will bring you peace if you're still trying to control outcomes instead of engaging with reality. Let me leave you with the question that changed my life. What if the life you have right now is enough? Not perfect, but enough. What if you stopped waiting for everything to be secure before you allowed yourself to relax? What if happiness isn't something you achieve through control, it's something you experience through presence? I can tell you that for me, asking that question opened a door I didn't even know existed. On the other side was a version of myself I'd lost decades ago, the version that could smile. He was just buried under decades of anxiety and control. He might still be in you, too. If you've made it this far, subscribe to this channel. You read clearly someone who is looking for deeper answers about navigating this stage of life with grace and authenticity. That's what this channel is about. Real conversations about aging, retirement, and finding peace. If that resonates, you belong here. Hit that subscribe button. Join this community of people who are choosing presence over perfection, acceptance over control, life over fear. I'll see you in the next video.